Well, Mark 11 is another powerful chapter. Let's skim across it. We've already gone into details. Hopefully you've been listening. I hope you have. If you're young and you've been doing it, oh wow, that's pretty cool. That's pretty amazing. All right, so review Mark 11 is what we're going to do. And the first part was plans to enter Jerusalem or Jerusalem. I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce that accurately. But what happened, if you remember, he was coming from Jericho with his apostles and a lot of other, we could call them pilgrims, people from the Jewish nation and Gentiles who were coming to Jerusalem to worship and to celebrate Passover. He's headed for the cross at this point. It becomes the last week and all, and so I kind of studied this a little bit more. I'm not sure. This probably should be even lower. Bethany is where he was headed. Also Bethphage. And Bethphage is, as I mentioned before, is not really known. I don't think they have found it yet. I haven't found so far in my research that they know where it is. It's ruined, over the years. But it seems to be more popular and more, it's larger than Bethany. But anyway, so we have Bethany, Bethphage. Now he's headed into Jerusalem, and he sets it up for a couple of his disciples to go set it up with the, if you remember, the donkey, the colt, right here. So he had a part. I think there were two that went in. I think that's in Matthew, but he rode on one. And so there's the donkey, and that was a fulfillment. I think it's Zechariah 9. And then the next part, let me bring this back up. He plans to enter Jerusalem. In the meantime, he curses a fig tree. He kind of says, you're not going to have any fruit anymore. And the purpose of that was to demonstrate faith, what the power of words and the power of heart faith, God-given faith. And so I don't know if you can see this, but there's there's mustard seeds in there. Can you see those mustard seeds there? Hope you can see those. I'll pull one out. This is an actual mustard seed, by the way. Now, Jesus didn't in Mark mention a mustard seed, but he mentioned it in one of the other Gospels. If you have faith as a mustard seed. Ooh, I hope I don't drop them. Wow, I have two in my hand. I can't even feel them. Oh no, I just dropped one. It flipped. All right, I don't know. You're not going to be able to see that. That's the point. Very, very, very small right there. All right, but anyway, see if I hope I don't lose that one. I think I already lost 2 or 3. Well, I'll pick them up later. Hopefully I can find it with a a magnifying glass. All right, so this is where he just speaks in the power of that word, but he kind of took that fig tree and said, enough of you. And so he was coming, he was hungry, and all. Anyway, that's that passage right there. The next one is where he goes in and clears the temple. He goes into the part, probably the Gentiles, and clears the temple because they were selling and buying in there, and they were also in exchange for money, and also prices of their lambs and goats and all that was exorbitant prices. They were ripping off the people of God, which isn't good. This place was a temple. This is basically sort of what it looked like, pretty much so. And probably down in here is where they were selling and buying, right in the temple. Yeah, that's not good. And he said this should be a prayer for all nations, including the Gentiles. This is the court of the Gentiles. I don't think they were doing it up here at all. I think it was here. Maybe here, but most likely here. As I've said a couple times, there's 162 marble columns here. It was a magnificent building plan. And you could go in there to get in the shade because there was like a roof over this part. I don't think there was a roof over this part, but you could go in there if it was really hot and sunny, or also in the rain. And also he just was really, really upset that these guys were doing that. Now, the day before he had actually looked it over, and then the next day he came in and he threw tables and whoo, he was mad. And that really set the scribes and the chief priests, the elders, off. They were really angry. They were really so mad that they wanted to kill him. He also was hurting business, the money business of Caiaphas, the high priest. All right, so we had the fig tree that I just mentioned. He cursed that. And then he cleared the temple, which I just showed you, cleared the temple. The next one right here is, he said, have the faith of God. It could be, most translations say faith in God, but I believe the Greek is have the faith of God. God's faith. That's the mustard seed faith. That's the faith that, it has power to, move mountains and curses fig trees. He said that whoever shall say unto this mountain, and he probably pointed to one of the mountains, see the Mount of Olives, which I showed you earlier, if you remember that one. He's pointing right to it, most likely, because he said this mountain. Whoever shall say unto this mountain. Now, could it be here, or could it be the Temple Mount? Maybe partially Zion or something. There's like 4 different mountains there. He said, whoever shall say unto this mountain, be removed and be cast into the sea, maybe the Dead Sea. And by the way, if you got on Mount of Olives, you could look and see the Dead Sea from that. I think it's 17 miles or something like that. You could see the sea. That's pretty cool, see the Dead Sea. Whoever shall say unto this mountain, be removed and be thou cast in the sea, and shall not doubt in his heart. See, faith, that's a big thing. It's a power of faith that comes from the heart, and then you speak. Like when you hear God's word, then you speak it out. Like when I got saved, I said, I believe. I remember that was the first thing I did when I literally said it out loud. Because my problem was having unbelief and all, whether there was a God or no, and I began seeking him, and I found him, or he found me. All right, so anyway, I go on. So, that's good. Have the faith of God. And so the next one, he says, therefore, and that word is therefore because of the connection with the faith of God. He talks about prayer. What things soever you desire when you pray, believe you shall receive them and shall have them. Prayer and faith. There's faith in prayer and forgiveness. This triangle here is very powerful. Yeah, forgiveness, he also mentioned. But prayer is the most important, I believe it is the most important activity for people to do. Talking to God is everything. It's really important to pray a lot. And Jesus' prayer life was just remarkable. Paul was too. The great men and women of God in the Bible, they had fantastic prayer lives. They prayed a lot. So we have that. And then the next thing he did was, he cleared the temple. This is the clear the temple thing. This one is the next part when they said, what authority do you have to do the things that you're doing? They did not like what he did. They didn't even mention it, but that's what they're talking about. Primarily the clearing of the temple. And see, he's the judge. He's the king. He came to bring the kingdom. And so this is a great chapter. Really, really cool stuff in it. So at the end, like I said, they were questioning Jesus' authority right here. They were saying, who gives you the right to do the things that you're doing? And he is Lord. He is the king. He is the judge. He has authority to judge that temple and tell them that they're doing wrong. He has the authority to judge you and me and tell us that we're doing wrong. I want him to be my judge. He's fair, but also I want to change and all. And so that Sanhedrin, this is one of the last things that really ticked them off, and they really wanted to figure out a way to get him. The Sanhedrin, remember, is the chief priests, which are the kind of the main lead priests, and then the scribes, which is the experts of the law, the teachers of the law, and then the elders. It was the rulers. These are the rulers of Israel, particularly of Jerusalem and especially the temple. They weren't happy with what Jesus was doing. They did not like him at all. And the same as today. I'm sorry if you're a young person, you don't know, but lots and lots of people hate Jesus. They hate God. They don't want him. And that's why it's important to love them and be kind to them. Jesus was very kind to these people. He gave them lots of time, lots of patience, and they were off, and they got worse and worse. The more Jesus came around, the more he taught. He taught in that temple and probably healed. I said that one time in the video, but it could have been other times he was healing in Jerusalem. I think that was the first year, but maybe here he was healing some people. It doesn't really say, I don't think. I made a mistake the other day. Anyway, very good. Love you. Thanks for listening and paying attention. That was a wonderful chapter, wasn't it? I mean, if you just think about each thing, fulfillment of Scripture, power of the Word, prayer and prayer and forgiveness is really important. You know, he said, if you don't forgive, I forgot to mention that one, then God's not going to forgive you. He had authority. He has authority in your life. And it's a great review of, it's a great chapter to review. So let me go over one more time to make sure. I like to review it so you really get it. I like to know that chapter, and remember it. He shared plans that were probably supernatural. Somewhat could have been planned out, but regardless, I think it's somewhat supernatural. But anyway, Jesus cursed about the donkey. He curses a fig tree. He clears the temple. He had the fig tree that he cursed was dead the next day. Peter saw it. And then he said, he demonstrates how he could do it. He did it that way, and you can do it too. Have the faith of God, prayer and forgiveness, and questioning Jesus' authority. And don't question his authority. But he had the right to cleanse the temple. It happens to be his temple. He's God. That's another reason I believe that he's God, among hundreds, literally, of reasons that's proven in the New Testament. Jesus is God. Don't let anyone question you on that or challenge you on that. Almost every page of the Gospels is dripping with it. Like, it's just full of the evidence that Jesus really was God. He is the Son of God, which makes him in nature God. So he's God. So, all right, God bless you, and thanks for listening.